Welcome to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast with your host, Desi Arnaz. Join us as we explore the journeys of top achievers who share strategies and stories about their success and living life on their own terms. Get ready to be inspired.
Hello, guys, and welcome back. Welcome to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast. I am your host, Desi Arnaz, and I'm excited to be spending some time with you guys here today. Here on the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast, we're all about wealth, wisdom, and freedom. And I got a very wise person that's going to be talking with you guys and sharing with you guys here today. He is living a free life. I really love the life you've built for yourself. His name is Hussein Yahfoufi. Did I say it right?
That's perfect, man.
He is my guest here today, and he's also a fellow San Diegan, which is cool, right? We'll probably be able to grab a cup of coffee at some point here in the future. But welcome aboard here today, Hussein.
Awesome, Desi. Thanks for having me. And San Diego, best place on earth, man.
I know. I like to think of it as like the best kept secret in this country. You know, it's so funny, Hussein. Yesterday, I met with one of my partners. Because I invest, in real estate deals. And so I have some partners. One of my partners who doesn't live here, he used to live here. He goes, Desi, you got to get out of California. And I said, dude, I cannot see that happening.
Yeah.
Especially not San Diego.
Yeah. You might pay less taxes, but it doesn't mean you're having more fun in life if you're not in San Diego. Yeah.
I know. So you weren't from here originally, you told me before we came on air, right?
Yeah, correct.
What's your story, Hussein?
Yeah, so I'm actually originally from Lebanon, so country in the Middle East. I moved to Michigan, Detroit, actually Dearborn, which is very close to Detroit, in '99 with my parents, and then moved to San Diego in 2001 to go to school and never looked back, because once you make it here, you're not leaving, man.
I fully agree. Yeah, for sure. And I know that you are you're an entrepreneur. I tell you what, I was impressed when I looked through your LinkedIn. So you guys want to head over to his LinkedIn, you'll find it. As a matter of fact, I'm sure we'll give that before the end of the show here. We'll talk about how people can reach you. But I was very impressed, man. I mean, you're doing some pretty cool stuff that I don't know anyone else is doing. I in particular like one of your entities is called Startup Beach. First of all, where'd that name come from? Startup Beach. What's that about?
I mean, we're in San Diego. I live in Encinitas, and I'm in startup world, and there's a lot of startup events. So I figured, Startup Beach. And then kudos to my wife, actually came up with the name. I didn't come up with it, but I like it, and the community seems to like it too.
Yeah, it totally works. So what is Startup Beach about?
Yeah, so Startup Beach is really an event platform for people that want to host events, like community gatherings, small meetups, business meetups, things like that. And so the idea behind it, right, is if you use one of the big platforms like Eventbrite, Luma, Meetup, etc., you're kind of on your own. You host your event, you get the technology, but good luck, right? My approach is, no, I'll give you the same exact technology, maybe a little bit better. And then in addition to that, I'll also help you with find advertisers, find sponsors. I also have tools that your guests can use to like match make people, right? So if you host an event on Startup Beach, all of your guests get matched together. So that way, when they go to the event, they always have somebody to talk to, and they're not like trying to break the ice with some random people.
Yeah. And so your target audience would be people that are thinking about starting their own businesses or something, right?
Yeah, it could be business owners, startup owners, even employees of companies. There's a lot of things like, groups that have similar job roles, like salespeople get together and just workshop or brainstorm ideas. There's developers working on things. They might get together and do a hackathon. There's a lot of mixers, right? Like traditional kind of networking events, that kind of thing.
Okay. So I shouldn't let the name startup make me narrow my vision about what you do, right?
Yeah. Okay. Correct.
Yeah, because I was thinking it's just for people starting a new business. That's not it at all.
Now, and I'm getting that feedback quite a bit, so we'll see. Maybe the name will change in the future, but for now, it's sticking. It's a good name.
Yeah, very, very good. And so you said you came in from Michigan, and then you mentioned your wife too. So tell me about your family a bit.
Yeah, so happily married, been married for a little bit over 11 years or so now. So we've got three kids. I've got a 16-year-old who is in marching band and saxophone and things like that. Like it's a lot of fun, jazz band.
Mhm.
I've got a 10-year-old who's into basketball and stage acting. So she's always in a play, through
Yeah.
schools and that kind of thing. Over spring break, she learned how to crochet. So now she wants to crochet stuffed animals and sell them on Etsy and at a farmer's market and things like that. So I think she's got my entrepreneurship genes.
Yeah,
And then
for
the
sure.
youngest one, he's the active one, right? Like he's soccer all day, all night. He's in competitive soccer. So
Yeah.
weekends, we're usually running around tournaments with him.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, you know what? I've got four children, but they're all adults now.
Yeah,
I remember those days, man.
it's fun. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
busy, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it is. Well, it'll make you pull your hair out. See what happened to me? I used to have a big stroke.
I mean, see, this is where the white hair came from.
Yeah, but I tell you what, kids are the most wonderful blessing that we are given, you know.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. You were an entrepreneur, right?
Yes, sir.
Was that kind of, you mentioned the gene. Do you think that that's a gene in some people or in yourself in particular?
I think it is. There's probably a part of it that you can also learn it. But my family, my dad was always an entrepreneur. He always had businesses. I don't think outside of maybe when he used to tell me when he was a teenager, he worked at a gas station. And this is in the old days when you had to, pump other
Yeah,
people's gas, right? You didn't do
yeah,
it on your own.
yeah.
So that was like probably the only job he's ever mentioned. And then after that, he was always an entrepreneur, right? Like he used to go buy ice cream and then go to the beach and sell the ice cream to people
Wow.
at the beach and like things like that, and just
Yeah.
grew his business from there. So I do feel like I get a lot of that from him on just wanting to be a businessman and owning businesses, right?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's nice because we are taught we're taught as a society to go a different route, right? You go to school, you get a good education, and then you work 40 or 50 years for, if you're lucky, for the same company, but these days that's kind of rare.
Yeah,
Uh, but then at the end, then you get to enjoy your life in your golden years. But the truth is, what I've seen, I'm 72 years old. What I've seen is
mhm,
that people that follow that plan, they retire, and some of them don't make it very long after that. It's like they
yeah,
have nothing to pulling them forward, if you know what
yeah,
I'm trying to say. There's nothing.
yeah,
Whereas as an entrepreneur like yourself, uh, every day is another adventure, don't you think? It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah, it's another adventure. So
yeah,
you wake up, you pop out of bed like a piece of toast. It's like out of a toaster, like, whoo, let's go.
yeah,
And that, that's part of the freedom that I talk about in our name, is right. This is the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast. Well, that's one of the freedoms that I'm talking about, and you can experience that. Is that one of the reasons that you think you have really, I know you went to college like I did, university, but you still pursued something outside, I'm assuming outside
mhm,
your major as your primary revenue stream, right?
yeah,
So wh- what was your thought process there?
yeah. It's interesting when I look back to it. So my degree was a finance degree, but I ended up working in technology. But interestingly enough, it's always been it's called fintech, right? Financial technology.
Mhm.
So even though I wasn't necessarily applying my degree as like my main thing because I went the tech route, it was somewhat related to the degree. But where my thinking started changing, right, is when you work in a corporation, you move up the ladder and all of that. That could work for some people. For me, it's, the higher up you get and the bigger the company and the more repetitive things might start becoming, the more process there is, the more you're, not detached, but you're a little bit further away from like the day to day of the
Yeah,
details of what's happening, where because you have to think bigger and bigger and bigger picture, and then there's a lot more people involved, right? And so the beauty of a startup, when I look at my week and everything I accomplished this week, like every conversation I have moves a startup forward like many, many steps. Whereas at a big company,
Yeah.
it might take a week just to have that one conversation because there's so many moving pieces happening at once.
Yeah. And so that's a very rewarding, it sounds like to me you're saying there's far more rewarding being more on the entrepreneurial side. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's definitely a lot more action. It's a lot more fun, but it's also a lot more riskier, right? Because as an entrepreneur, you're dealing with every single aspect of a business, right? And as you know, with running a podcast, right, there's a lot more to it than just this conversation.
Yes.
And so you have to think about, great, if my skill set is I'm a good engineer, okay, well, can you also do sales and marketing and legal and accounting and finance and, like everything
Yeah.
else?
Yeah.
Because you'll have your hand. I mean, obviously you can hire people to help, but in the beginning, you're kind of on your own to try to figure out everything around the business, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you are. You are. But I learned something here in the last
Hmm.
I'd say 5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been like you, an entrepreneur pretty much most of my life. And my background is like yours, and that my dad was also an entrepreneur, even though he bailed on the family while he was
Yeah.
around, I did kind of pick up on that whole entrepreneurial thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned over the last, I'd say 3 to 5 years, somewhere in that range, is really that I needed to learn how to relinquish control of certain aspects of my entrepreneurial endeavors. You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't be a control freak, which I was for like 35 years, 40 years. It was just, uh,
Yeah.
and that was stressing me out, right? Which is no fun. But I read a book. It's called Who, Not How. And when I read that book, and I mentioned this on several of my podcasts, but when I read that book, it really did open up my mind to
Yeah.
understand that I don't have to be the expert in every aspect. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, I'm better off trying to find an expert, even if I can't afford them, because there are people that love doing things that I don't know how to do or don't want to do. They love
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
some of them will do it for a piece of the vision that you have
Hmm.
for this company.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You can
Yeah.
you can bring in some really good people. And so I tested that in a company that I started yeah, I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago. And I found that I was able to bring in good people. Didn't cost me anything initially, but as the company grew, everybody benefits.
Yes.
But everybody
Yeah.
was able to do their thing, and I did what I was good at, and it really has been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is only because of what you said. And if I can encourage people in any way, I don't want to encourage them think outside the box a bit, and don't limit yourself to thinking you've got to become an expert in everything, because you'll become an expert in nothing.
Yeah.
If you try to
Yeah.
become
No,
an
that's a really good point, Desi. And one of the things I learned very early on in my career, even when before entrepreneurship, when I was an employee at a big corporate company, was always hire people smarter than you, right? And especially like in the areas that you don't want to focus in, right? So when I was the CTO and CIO of a company, there's a lot of areas in my world, right? So I had engineering, I had product design, etc. There were pieces of it that I really gravitated to, and so I was able to be more involved. And then the other pieces, I hired very senior, very high level people that could just run with things, right? And I didn't have to worry about, is it going to work, not work? Like I didn't
right.
need to be micromanaging. I had a partner, he's responsible for this, she's responsible for that, and I'm going to trust that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And the big thing was, getting to the point where you hire people that you trust enough and that you can always have this assumption when they do something that there's a reason behind it, right? And they're moving in the right direction instead of questioning, like, why did they do that? Like, this is not the right way. It's no, as long as they're still on board with the mission and the goal and the vision,
Right there.
you
Right
can
there.
get on the same page, right? And let them make their own decisions to get there.
Right, you're right there, brother. And that's how you're going to get your freedom, right?
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get your freedom. I see so many people that become slaves to their businesses, slaves to their even to their jobs, really,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm trying to really spread the word that, you know what, guys, you can have a wonderful life, live a really good
Mhm.
life. You can
Mhm.
have freedom and prosperity, financial prosperity and emotional prosperity, family prosperity. You know what I mean? From like you, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you and your family, you guys, it's not even financial. I'm just saying you guys have a prosperous relationship between you, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I don't want to say it this way because it sounds so cliche, but you can have it all.
Mhm.
But not if you try to hold on to all of it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but you can really have it all. And I'm living a life today that I never thought I'd live
Mhm.
as a result of the decisions to step away from some things. You know what else, you may find this too in your own life. The results that I get when I put the right people in the right spots are better than if I had done it all myself. The final product may not have been in my
Mhm.
vision of what I saw, but it's better.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm trying to say?
No, it is. And that's also why when you're hiring people, hire people better than you, right? Like, don't try to find somebody that you're going to be their mentor and you're going to
Right,
tell them.
right.
I mean, sure, you might need juniors, like there's different levels, but also hire people that you're going to learn from, right? Because that's how you move your business forward.
Yeah. And so your startup with your startup beach, uh,
Hmm.
people that are considering maybe starting a business, and I know that you're not just startup, but people that are
Hmm.
considering starting a business, have you seen any successful uh, maneuvers or strategies that people are implementing to kind of move the needle? Anything that you can share?
Yeah. So one benefit of, my focus with this idea of events, right? I do see a lot of people who want to start a new business, whether it's in tech, life science, brick and mortar, whatever it is. Don't go to these events where there's other people doing startups or businesses and just run their idea by the group, right? Try to get feedback, try to talk about it a little bit more, and just get used to the concept of what are you working on? Why are you working on it? Why do you think that's a good business? And see what kind of feedback you get, right? So I see a lot of people make a mistake of they want to start something new and they lock themselves up in an office,
Yeah.
maybe like this one or yours, and they're just working away without getting feedback, right? And I think one critical thing is get feedback very, very early on because, that when you're so focused on the details, you kind of forget the big picture sometimes, and then you start missing things, right?
Yeah.
So one strategy that works is just go out there, meet people, right? Don't be afraid to say hi. And people, they love hearing stories of somebody starting something new and they want to support it, right? Especially
Yes.
in San Diego, everybody's very friendly.
Yeah, they really are. They
Yeah.
really are. I had one of my partners came in town yesterday. We had lunch
Hmm.
together. I had two partners show up from one from Idaho, one from Georgia. They both showed up yesterday, not together.
Nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had one for breakfast and one for lunch. You know, they were in town.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a rare situation. But one of the things that I had said to the partner that I met for lunch is that um, I forgot what I was going to tell you with that. That's what happens when you get old. So, but that's okay. I get to use getting old as part of my reason for not remembering everything.
What's the age when you can use that? Can I start using that? Because I forget a lot of things, and I'm like, oh man, look, I have gray hair.
You're too young.
No,
Nope.
not yet.
No, no, no. You haven't earned that yet.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. So, with you living over by the beach, are you a surfer or anything like that?
You know, so I don't surf, not yet. And fuck that, I don't do it yet. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. We do bodyboarding, the boogie boarding,
Oh yeah,
like
that's
that's
fun.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's very accessible with the kids to not worry about them being too deep in the water and all that. So we do that. That's
Yeah.
definitely fun.
Yeah, that's fun. That's the only thing I've
Yeah,
ever done. I've never
yeah,
even tried to stand up on a surfboard because I never saw
yeah,
the point. I don't think I want to do that.
yeah, yeah.
I don't want to go out that far where the sharks are to begin with.
Exactly, exactly. Just stay where the humans are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Shore is nice, you know. It's fun. It's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, it really, really is. Well, I tell you what, this is wonderful, and I love what you're doing. Are there any books or any books? Let's start with that. Are there any books or
Mhm.
anything that you've read that have impacted you in a way that you might want to share that with people that are listening or
You
watching?
know, there's a few books in the startup world that have been very impactful and that I reference often, right? So one is called Lean Startup, and that's all about how do you build a business one step at a time and not overdo it too early on. That's like a very general description. One is called Traction. What's really nice with Traction is it breaks down, how many different types of marketing can you do? And then how do you figure out what works for you, what works for your business, and what's working for your customers so that you can double down on it?
Mhm.
Um, there's another one called Hooked. So for somebody that builds web and mobile experiences and apps and things like that, it helps you figure out how to build an app that people would want to use more or a website they would want to use more. So those three, yeah.
What's that one called? The third one? What's it called?
Hooked,
Hooked with an H?
Hooked, yeah, yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I've written those down because I'll put them in the show notes for people that
awesome,
want to pick those up. I
yeah,
appreciate that, and I love the way that you explained kind of what the theme is of each book, so that people can kind of go from there. I'm a reader.
yeah,
Sounds like you're a reader. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, one of the life lessons for those of you guys that are out there that are paying attention, if you're not readers, you guys will notice on previous podcasts as well as this podcast that every successful person that I've had on they all have one thing in common. They're all readers. Does that tell you something?
Yeah, good advice. Good
Yeah,
advice.
they're all readers. And I know people say, "Oh, I really don't like reading." Well, at least get audiobooks to do something, right? But
Yep.
yeah, yeah, you gotta get your head in the game. Because
Mhm.
what I have discovered, as I'm sure you have too, probably 80% or more of your success in whatever endeavor you're going to pursue is it's here. It starts here, right? This is where it starts. And then from
Yep.
there, and that's what the reading does. The reading helps to expand your mind, give you more opportunities to get into the minds of people that have been there, done that, and they can help you to learn. And so if reading is not high on your list, guys, I one of the pieces of advice that I would give you, listen to this old man, is read. Read until you start to love it and it becomes a
Yep.
part of you, you know? Yeah. Very, very good. So you said you
Yeah.
went to San Diego State beforehand. You mentioned that. Is that right?
USD,
Oh,
University
I'm
of San
sorry.
Diego.
You,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
see.
The other one.
Yeah. Yeah, the other, the bigger one.
Mhm.
Um, very good. And you said your major was financial
Yeah. So it was business with a concentration in finance.
finance. Okay. All right, business. And you worked on Wall Street for a while too, if I remember reading correctly.
Yeah. So I worked for Morgan Stanley, which is, you could say it's a Wall Street company, but it was
Yeah.
based here in San Diego.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a Wall Street company. Were you like
Mhm.
a stockbroker there or something like that?
Yeah. I think the official title was like Global Wealth Manager or something like that. Basically, I help people plan for retirement and their investments and where to put their money and how much they need to save, that kind of thing.
That's good. That's good. And do you still
Yeah.
do that too?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, for me personally, it's important. It's something that I learned early on, and the company that I worked for, Arta Finance, so they are also in the wealth management space, and the idea with Art of Finance, right, is how do we build a new investment platform that's got what you expect of a modern company, right? It's an easy to use interface, mobile, web, very transparent on fees, good investment opportunities presented in like an easy way, easy to read and easy to understand matter, all of that.
And what type of investments are available on Arta?
Yeah. So it's public markets and private markets. So some of it is in the stock market. Some of it is more if you want to invest in like a private equity fund or a real estate fund, or if you want to go a little bit more risky, like a VC type fund, right, that invests in startups, that's all available too.
Well, that's interesting because I don't know if you know this, but I manage a real estate fund.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So maybe we need to have a conversation about that.
Indeed, we do.
I can get on the platform. Yeah. I've managed actually two different real estate funds, and
Awesome.
yeah, one is it's going to sunset in about 3 years. It was a 7-year fund, and it sunsets in 3 more years. We've been in it for 4, and the other I just launched April 2nd.
Awesome. Congrats. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So we're in the capital raising right now phase of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll connect with you on Arta.
Yeah, let's do it.
See if there's some way we can work together there. And
Awesome.
yeah, that's very, very good. Thank you for I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking the question.
All right. Well, as we wind down here, I'd just like to ask you, is there any life lessons or any other lessons that you might want to share with the people that have listened and enjoyed this lively conversation today before we wrap this up? I know it's a broad question.
Just start. Whatever it is you're thinking about doing or considering doing or have thought about doing, just do it. Like, just get started and see how it goes. That's it. That's like the best advice I can give.
I know that's actually brilliant advice. So many people get stuck in what's called analysis paralysis, right? And they just don't pull the trigger, right?
Yeah.
And so I've told my children, because my children work with me too, so and I've told them all their lives, though, look, you go as far as you can see, because when you get there, you can see farther. So just like you just said, just start.
Yeah. Great
advice. You guys, I couldn't end it any better than that. So I'm going to let that be the last word. Okay. So I want to thank you. Thank you so much, Hussein, for coming on and sharing with us. If people want to reach you, I don't know if that's something that you're open to sharing, but please share, if you would, how people can reach you through your website or LinkedIn, whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. This has been a blast. Best way to reach me is LinkedIn, or you can go on startupbeach.com or artafinance.com, or either one of these three. Okay.
So LinkedIn, startupbeach.com, and then Arta is ARTA Finance.
ARTA Finance.com. Yeah. And it's mystartupbeach.com.
Oh, My Startup Beach. Okay, got it. I'm writing this down for the show notes here, okay?
Yeah, awesome.
MyStartupBeach.com. All right, I've got that. You guys reach out to this man. He can provide you with a ton of clear, thoughtful guidance, as you can already see just from this brief encounter. You can already see the value that this man can bring into your life and into your business plans. So you guys reach out to this man. As I am going to do after the show. And I want to thank you all so much for watching this episode. I hope that you guys will share this with your friends and people that you know. As our podcast continues to grow and get more and more downloads, that helps us with the algorithms so that we can have even more reach. We're trying to make a difference in people's lives. We're trying to show people that you can have wealth, wisdom, and freedom all together. And then you can enjoy a better life. So with that, I'm going to say God bless you all, and we'll see you all next on the next broadcast. Bye-bye. Thank you very much too, Hussein. Bye-bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast with Desi Arnaz. Want to share your success story with our audience? Head over to freedomandprosperitypodcast.com/guest and apply to be our next guest.